on Sunday, August 9th,
a ressenti au fond du cœur
felt
le coup terrible.
a difficult, terrible blow. They felt this very deeply in their
Chacun de nos
hearts.
compatriotes
Every one of our
a
fellow citizens
instinctivement compris,
immediately and
soyez-en
instinctively
certains,
understood, rest assured,
que les victimes de cet
that
attentat
the victims of this attack
étaient venus au Niger pour y faire
had come
le
to
bien
Niger to do good,
et qu'elles y ont rencontré le
and
mal.
in that country they
Oui,
encountered evil.
j'ai bien dit le mal.
Yes, I said
Le
evil.
mot n'est plus que rarement utilisé.
The word is very infrequently used
c'est le
today,
seul que
and
je
yet it's
trouve en
the
cet
only
instant
word I find
pour
at this
exprimer
time
ma
to
pensée le plus
express
clairement possible.
my thought in the clearest possible
Seul le
way.
mal
Only
peut tendre un
evil
guet-apens à des
can
innocents.
grasp
Seul le mal
innocent
peut tirer
people.
de sang-froid
Only
et à bout
evil
portant
can
sur
point
des femmes et
blank
des hommes
shoot at men
qui
and
étaient
women
au Niger
who were in
dans le
Niger
but de venir
with
en
an eye
aide
to
à des
helping
populations en
people
détresse.
in need.
Seul le mal
Only
peut
evil
haïr la générosité.
can hate generosity.
Cette incarnation du mal, la
This
France ne la connaît
Embodiment of evil,
malheureusement
France
que trop.
unfortunately has seen
car
all
elle l'a
too
déjà vu de
often.
près.
It's already seen it very
À
close to
chaque
home.
fois, le mal a
Every
pris des
single
noms et
time,
des
evil
visages
takes on
différents.
different names, different
Mais il poursuit
faces, but it
toujours les
is
mêmes victimes,
always going after the same
avec le même
victims
acharnement
with
aveugle.
the same
Et
blindness
dans le même
and
but.
intensity and with the same
Frapper des
objective
innocents
to
pour nous
hit hard
atteindre
innocent people,
dans nos
to
convictions,
hurt us in our
dans nos
beliefs, in our
autant
values,
que dans nos modes de vie,
in our
en
ways of
semant
living,
la terreur et la mort.
by provoking terror and death.
Le mal qui a frappé
The
vos
evil
enfants, vos parents,
that
vos
struck
amis,
down your friends, children, relatives, our 6 fellow citizens,
deux
and
accompagnateurs nigériens,
their 2 guides from Niger haven't yet received any kind of signature. It's probably the same type of hatred, the same type of cowardice,
la même inhumanité
the same lack of humanity
est à l'œuvre.
that was at work in Niger and at the
Même si nous
Bataclan.
ne sommes pas encore en mesure
Even though right now we cannot actually say the name, which organization is behind this heinous crime, which very much looks like a terrorist attack. I say terrorist, considering the geography, the location, and the methods used.
car il est peu probable
It's highly
que nous
unlikely
ayons ici affaire
that
à autre chose.
it's anything other than a terrorist
Ce
act.
mal, nous le connaissons et
This
nous
is an
verrons
evil
par
we're
les
familiar with.
visages qui
We
l'ont
will
le 9 août dernier.
discover who caused this evil on August 9th. The anti-terrorist office has opened an investigation for murder and association
Les autorités
with terrorist undertakings, together with the Niger authorities. We will spend the requisite resources and time
tout ce qui
to that end.
directement ou
But anyone who directly or
indirectement
indirectly
est à l'origine du drame que nous
caused
vivons
this
en ce
horrible situation that we're experiencing right now, along with you, will be hunted down
le président de la République
tirelessly.
s'y est clairement
The President of the Republic clearly committed to this on behalf of France.
en prenant la parole devant
In
ces
speaking to you today in front of these 6 coffins lined up in front of us all,
frappés par la peine,
who've been hit by pain,
l'incompréhension,
who don't understand, and who may feel great anger, I would like to first and foremost express the pain,
l'incompréhension
the lack of understanding, and the anger
français.
that all the French feel.
Ces enfants
It's children, her children, who were just torn away from you by these
peuvent être les miens.
murderers. Could have been my children.
Entre 25 et
They were
31
between 25 and 31 years of age. They were young people,
généreux,
generous,
brillants.
brilliant
Leur
people.
bagage universitaire impressionne
They had impressive university degrees.
et le respect
They were selfless, and they showed respect and commitment.
force l'admiration.
We must admire them for all of this. These were
Dont vous
children,
pouvez être fiers,
children that you can be proud of,
dont nous pouvons être
children
fiers
that we can all
collectivement.
be proud of together,
Des enfants dont la France entière,
children that all of France can be proud of.
Myriam,
Charlene, Miriam,
Nadifa,
Nadifa, and Stella
étaient de jeunes Françaises
were
brillantes,
young French women, brilliant, generous, and committed women. Antonin and Leo
étaient de jeunes Français
were young Frenchmen, brilliant and generous
engagés.
and committed.
Oui, leur engagement pour
Yes,
la cause
their
humanitaire
commitment for
était total.
humanitarian efforts was total. They'd come to Niger
Apporter leur soutien
to provide their
à
support
l'association ACTED
to the ACTED Association and Impact that locally, as elsewhere in the
un
world,
travail absolument
they are
remarquable
doing remarkable
dans le
work
seul but de
with the
venir en aide
only
à
objective
ceux
of providing assistance to people who've been hit by violence or forced population movements, natural
où la
disasters,
pauvreté endémique
or endemic poverty have deprived of everything. They had come to Niger
pour leur apporter l'essentiel.
to provide them with basic assistance,
Ils étaient là
necessities.
pour nourrir
They were there to provide food, health care,
et instruire.
clothing, and education.
Ils étaient là
They were there
pour aimer une population
to
qui le leur rendait.
love this population that loved them back, very much
Ils
so.
portaient la belle
They
voix,
were speaking the beautiful voice of France, the voice of freedom,
celle de la générosité,
the voice of
celle de
generosity,
la solidarité,
the voice of
celle du droit
solidarity,
des peuples
and of the right of peoples
d'eux-mêmes.
to their own destiny.
Ils sont morts
They
aux côtés
died
d'Adri et de Boubacar.
alongside Boubacar and Adri.
Ils ont tué tous ceux qui travaillaient au redressement du Niger,
They
au bien-être de sa
were people who were working for
population et en tant que
Nigeria, for
au-delà
the understanding of
des
peoples,
différences de l'attitude.
to be able to overcome differences in culture and
Les uns
understanding.
travaillaient
Some of them were
au nom de
working
l'humanité. Les autres
for humanitarian
en
purposes.
ont perdu
Others
jusqu'à la notion.
were really pushing toward that end as well, to honor the victims and their families.
Je veux rappeler ici
I would
avec
like to
force
recall
que vos
very
enfants,
clearly here that your children,
contrairement à ce qui a pu être dit,
as opposed to what may have been said
n'étaient
in
pas
some places,
au parc de Kouré.
weren't in the Kouré Park as weekend
Certains
tourists.
étaient engagés
Some of them
auprès d'ACTED et
were
d'Impact
working with
depuis
ACTED and
plusieurs mois.
Impact and had been for several months. Others had just arrived to meet up with
Si
them.
cette excursion avait été organisée
If the
un
outing
dimanche,
had been organized on, the outing was organized on a Sunday, simply
que le reste de
because
la semaine,
the other
ces
days of
jeunes
the
gens
week,
travaillaient à Niamey,
these young people were working
et que pour
in
servir
Niamey.
un pays, il
And to
faut
serve a
beaucoup connaître.
country, you have to be familiar with that country, get to know it. But also add, to work effectively in extreme conditions, you need to be able to do this within teams that stand together.
Cette courte excursion
This brief excursion was also designed
permettre
to make it possible for these youngsters from different backgrounds, and some of them had just arrived very recently in Niger, to get to know each other better,
se mettre,
so that
comme toujours,
they could become ever more effective
des autres.
to serve others.
Pour autant,
And yet,
tel était bien le sens premier de l'engagement de vos enfants.
was this the number one commitment of your children? I would like to say here
Les ONG
that
et l'ensemble
NGOs
des
and all
associations humanitaires
humanitarian
doivent
associations
pouvoir continuer
must
leur travail sur
be
place.
able to continue their
Car
work
quitter le Niger et
locally.
les pays
To
limitrophes,
leave Niger and neighboring countries would be giving in to murderers
cherchent à nous enchasser
that are trying
et
to
à y implanter
push us
leur
out,
base arrière
to set up
comme ils
their
ont
own
tenté
bases
de
as they
faire
tried to
Mali
do so in Mali
avant l'intervention française.
before the French intervention.
Quitter le terrain,
Leaving
ce serait
the field
abandonner aux
would mean
assassins
abandoning, giving up
et
to
à leur
murderers
idéologie de mort
and their
des populations
ideology of
entières
death, whole
Ils gouverneront par
populations
la faim,
that they would then govern
peur
through hunger,
et le désespoir.
fear, and desperation.
là-bas, comme ici,
There as here
comme ailleurs.
and
Pas
elsewhere,
question de
it's
céder
out of the
un
question
pouce de terrain
to give one single inch of territory to criminal
aux
fanaticism,
ennemis de la
to the
liberté
enemies
d'agir,
of
de
freedom,
penser et de
freedom
s'engager.
of thought and action.
Poursuivra
France
son action
will continue its
pour le
action
renforcement
to
de la protection
strengthen
des organisations
protection
humanitaires
of humanitarian
partout dans le monde
organizations
et pour la
worldwide
consolidation du droit
and to consolidate
international
international
humanitaire.
humanitarian law.
Pour autant, Je me dois de dire
But I
ici
must
que
say
les
here,
6 jeunes gens
these 6
dont
young
nous
people
accueillons aujourd'hui
whom we're welcoming
les
back
corps
today,
dans une immense
their remains
tristesse,
are here and we feel great sorrow.
n'étaient pas des soldats.
They were not
J'ai
soldiers.
entendu certains
I heard some people
faire
say,
ici ou là cette comparaison.
or make some sort of similar
Mais c'est une
comparison,
erreur
but that's
que
a
de
mistake
considérer de jeunes travailleurs
to
et de
consider
jeunes bénévoles.
these young
Les ONG
volunteers
humanitaires
from
comme des
humanitarian NGOs were in
Ils
any way
n'étaient pas
soldiers.
Ils
They
ne menaient
bore no
aucune opération
armes.
de type
They were
militaire.
involved in no military
Ils étaient
operation.
juste là pour venir en aide
They were just there to
avec
provide
tout
assistance
l'enthousiasme
with all of
de la
the
jeunesse.
enthusiasm of youth, assistance to a people that needed
Ils
them.
n'étaient pas des soldats dont le
They
métier
weren't
était de
soldiers
se
whose
préparer
job
à mourir
was to
pour
prepare
la
to
défense de la
die,
France,
to defend
de ses
France
intérêts vitaux.
and its vital
Ils
interests.
n'étaient pas des soldats
They
chargés
were
de la
not
protection
soldiers
militaire
to
des
provide
populations
military
locales.
protection of local populations or our
Je pense
nationals.
évidemment ici
Of course,
à Cédric
I'm thinking of
Pierremont
Cédric de
et
Beaumont
Alain
and
Bertoncello,
Alain
tombés au
Bertoncello,
Burkina Faso
killed in Burkina Faso in May of 2019
deux Français
to free
retenus en otage.
2 French hostages.
Ils n'étaient pas des soldats,
They were not soldiers.
seulement des travailleurs du bien
They were just workers for the good, young, generous people.
à être pris pour cible.
They should never
La
have been
guerre
taken as
n'était pas
victims.
leur métier.
They were not in the business of war. I'd like to say here in a very solemn way,
Pour une cause humanitaire,
committing to a humanitarian
consacrer sa
cause,
vie aux autres, ce n'est
giving one's
pas
life to
en
others,
faire le sacrifice.
doesn't mean sacrificing one's life for others. Charlene, Adifa, Miriam, Stella,
Antonin
Antona,
et Léo
and Leo
n'étaient pas partis en Afrique,
didn't go
pour se
to
battre,
Africa to fight,
mais pour donner leur générosité.
but to give their generosity, spend a few months of their lives or possibly longer.
Cette vie leur a été volée,
Their lives were stolen from them
qui va de Niamey.
on the road from Niamey to Kouré.
La France ne peut pas.
France cannot accept
Aucun
that.
Français,
No French person can accept
aucun
that.
Français.
No French person can accept that.
Maintenant,
Now,
les familles frappées
the
dans leur
families who've been hit so hard in their hearts
chair ont droit à deux choses.
are entitled to 2 things.
Le respect de leur immense douleur.
Respect of their huge pain,
La
firstly.
justice pour leurs enfants.
Justice for their children, secondly. That
Le gouvernement nigérien,
the government
comme
of
celui
Niger,
de la France, que
as
j'ai
the
l'honneur
government
de
of France,
représenter
that it's my
devant
honor
vous
to
aujourd'hui,
represent before you here today,
s'engage
commit to this
devant ces 6 cercueils
in front of these 6
avec
coffins
la plus absolue des déterminations.
with the greatest possible determination. Long live the Republic, long live France.